are driven by the finer things. I see more than materials and wealth. What have you got to give to me? What I don't already give myself. You are driven by the...
Hello, Sydney here. Welcome to a brand new episode of Illuminated, DiiSCLAIMER, and I hope you're finding new beautiful ways to illuminate your path. Now today, I want to talk about something that has been very important to me, and it's been one of my recurring themes for 2023. At the beginning of the year, I was down bad. If you're not from the UK, then down bad basically means I had no energy. I was just thinking from a place of lack, and I was bedbound. Now, if you know me as a person, whenever you see me, it's on, like, I just got energy, I'm happy, I'm positive, I'm just making jokes. But there was just a point a few months ago when I didn't have that. And the funniest thing about synchronicities and speaking to other people and them telling you your destiny in a subliminal way without even knowing it is people basically saying, bro, I think you're people pleasing. Like, you're using energy, you're pouring from an empty cup. I spoke to spirit guides. I spoke to people who have done this trade for years and even decades. I spoke to multiple people about this, and it all pointed to the fact that I was people pleasing. And although it's not necessarily a bad thing to people please, it's also something that can be very destructive in the long term, because if I keep on people pleasing and I'm pouring from an empty cup, then I lose ultimately. And a lot of these people don't have your best interest in heart. A lot of people just want to get help and not return that. Now, I'm not saying you don't need to help people, and this is what I learned myself. Like, I still want to help people, and it's just about making sure that if I help people, that they don't use that as a form of weakness. You know, I don't get complacent and then give away too much energy or resources to people who don't deserve it or appreciate it. So what I realized that I had to do was I had to make this a recurring theme for this year, and that's to set boundaries, healthy boundaries. But although it's in my nature to be helpful and kind, and just to see people live a more profound and beautiful way of living, it was difficult for me to get those boundaries at first. If someone is sad or upset, I always offered myself, even if I didn't have the time. Like, if you knew me at the beginning of the year, gosh, I didn't have much time off, let's just put it that way. So for me to actually put my services out there when I didn't have any time or capacity to do services was a form of people pleasing. I just wanted to make sure that I can help the world. But how can I help the world if I can't even help myself? And that's when I realized that I need to take this more seriously. It's funny because throughout this year, it's just been a recurring theme. Someone will come up to me and just tell me you're people pleasing. Even if I'm not, they just look at me and just be like, yeah, you people please, don't you? I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I realized that I had to do a few things. Although small, it builds up. There's power in numbers, and the more small things I did, the more of a good outcome I got. So these are just a few things I'm going to talk about when it came to me setting healthy boundaries. First thing was, I offered help to people, but only if I had the capacity to do so. If, for example, in the past someone needed my help, I'll try to do as much as I can to give them the information. Now, I just refer them, I send them a message, hope everything's okay, yeah? Show them that I still care about them and I'm still there if they need me for anything, but don't directly put myself out there to help these people. A lot of people have the capacity to help themselves, but they don't, because they'd rather get help from other people. And I know that does sound a bit harsh, but there's some truth behind it. I've been around people who can walk to the nearest train station, but because I have a car, they ask me to give them a lift. There's people who can order a taxi to go somewhere and move items from A to B, but they come into me, for example, as well, because I've got a car. You know, because I have a car, a lot of people feel like they can take advantage of me having a car. And it's just me being realistic. So if anyone does say that, unavailable. If I truly want to help someone and I have the capacity or resources to, I will help them, but not at the cost of my life force. Another thing that I like doing is whenever I speak to someone, I tell them now, look, like, I just say a disclaimer, and I just say, look, I don't have the capacity to be on social media or to message. Like, when you speak to me in person, it's beautiful. I don't mind speaking to people in person, that's cool. But over messaging, I'm the type of person, I'll get my phone, I'll just throw it on my bed, and I'll just do something else. Especially with these YouTube channels and me getting my business up and sorted. The last thing I want to do is just to be on Instagram for hours, just either scrolling or replying to people's messages. So I need to be much more considerate of my time. And I allow people to know that they need to be more considerate of my wants and needs too. So if people messaging me now, depending on how you message me, I will get back to you accordingly. If you send me a quick question, I'll get back to you maybe in a couple of hours. But if someone sends me a very long voice note, then I would take longer. And I'll usually tell you the reasons why I take longer to message. But generally, if you know me, you know you're not getting a message straight away. The only people who will probably get a message straight away is if I go through my messages and I see either an emergency or family needs me for something, or maybe a manager needs something on a deadline. Managers, right? Another thing I do is I ensure that in order to help my previous experience of people pleasing, I usually give people I like to help people, and I realize I like helping people, and I realize I can't just take that away because it feels like I'm literally taking off a plaster, but more than the plaster is coming off, I'm pulling off some skin too. So I found a happy medium which benefits me, and that is sometimes I just want to help people, but I help people once. If I pick you up and drop you off somewhere, for example, or if I help you move some things, or I give you some advice for what to do, or I help you with job advice, all these things, yeah, I'll help you once. And if you keep on asking me for the same services, I'll be like, I'm honestly like, I've helped you previously, but capacity, I'm at capacity. I want to help people, but if I help 100 people and I give all those 100 people 100 hours, well, an hour each, that's 100 hours, isn't it? But there's not enough hours in the day for me to help everybody, but still maintain my energy. So I'm protecting my energy. I'll help people once, and that makes me feel good because the ball's in their court. Now, this is where I realize it's a powerful tool, because I've realized that a lot of people, you help them and then they'll keep on asking for more and more and more. Some people, you help them, then they feel comfortable around you, and then they'll help you back, and there's a nice rapport. And some people will just help you straight away without not even knowing you. Now, I gravitate towards the people who help me. I also gravitate to people who remember who I am because of the deeds I do. But the people who keep on asking for stuff, like there's been opportunities in the past where I've just been like to people, look, you honestly, like, I have to say this for my mental health. To me, you're a taker. I've given you a lot and you take it and you don't give me anything back. So for that reason, I'm going to step away from what we have. And this is social settings, this is family, this is friends, this is whatever. And although some people might get offended by these things, you have to be honest and clear inside. If you have people and you're giving your energy to everybody else, what's going to give? These 100 people who you help, they're going to sleep like babies at night. But you're going to be there stressed with all this harboring inside of you. And then boom, if you are sick or you're out of action for a couple of weeks, are any of these 100 people going to help you? The chances are that's pretty unlikely. So just make sure that you protect your energy, yeah? Just make sure that you know what you want and be assertive about it. Make sure people know what you want. Don't push it onto people, but just say, look, this is who I am, and before I help you with anything, these are the rules. Same way with this business. I need to make a living, yeah? I need to provide. But if I'm giving away free services to everybody, then everybody's happy. Everybody gets what they want, except for me. I have no money. I can't provide, but I've given my services away. So therefore, I get an equivalent exchange. I offer goods and services, and I want money in return. That way, it's equivalent, and I can help people if there is a duality. You help me, I help you. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. But that's the thing about people pleasing. If a lot of people are taking your energy and your time, what do you get in return? Make that abundantly clear from the get-go. The sooner the better. I'll just say, look, if I'm helping you, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Tilt your mind. And I'm not saying like be cruel and just be one of these people who are like, you know, aggressive. Just appreciate yourself enough to get properly compensated for what you give onto the world. I'm sure that makes sense. But anyways, that's been a new episode of Illuminated Disclaimer. I have been your host for the evening, Sydney. And as always, please keep on finding beautiful ways to illuminate your own path. Take care.